with a product like Snapshot or Tally. The first step, you fill in the basic information like the decision type, the question you want to ask people, the description for the proposal, and you can also attach documents to the proposal so people can get more nuance around that. The second step will be setting up voting participants. In this step, we are actually defining who can vote on this specific proposal. And you can allow people to vote by role, by their role in the organization, or by the token that they are holding. And here we have like all the field, the input that you can fill in to make sure that only those who hold the token or those who have a specific role can vote on the proposal. And the next step will be defining the voting method. As you can see here, currently we have like 4 different voting methods. The single choice vote, the polling, the upvote, and the veto vote. I'm not going to the details of each vote, but you can imagine that in the future there would be, we can offer more voting methods so people can be, the people who build out can be more flexible on building a proposal or later on a process, a decision-making process where they can have many flexibility around their decision-making process theme. So here I can select the polling section, and it go into the details of that method where you can set up the option for the polling method, where you can set up the voting results, how many results that the proposal will output, and the voting condition where you can set up the specific condition where this proposal will define which one will be the final result. And yet we move to the next step, and let's hold on a second here. As you can see, this is a setup enforcer screen. So I think this is the difference. An interesting thing is that in order to build a truly autonomous item in a DAO, we have added one thing called enforcer by now in our product. And this helps a DAO can automate any event like transfer token or NFT or any other events based on smart contract. And those events will be triggered under a specific condition and specific result of the proposal. And the screen you are seeing here is actually visualizing the setting for the transfer action where when the proposal is ended, then it will define which token will be used, which address to send, and the quantity of those tokens to send to specific addresses. And yeah, and move on, we have the duration, voting duration, where you can set up the duration for the proposal is simple. And then we can review all the proposal, all the information that we have filled in to make sure that it goes with our intention. And yet we can also go back and edit each step, or save draft, or save as template for next creation. And then we can publish the proposal. It's a simple process, and you can share to members so they can quickly access to the public page of the proposal, and they can vote immediately. And here the go to public page, you can click on that, and you can see the public page of the proposal, how it will look like. And you can and you can also go back to the editing, the setup if the proposal is not active yet. which means that before the starting time of the proposal, you can have the ability to edit all the information that you have already filled in. And here, all the similar interface that you might find, like something similar in snapshot product. Yeah, so that's one option we provide. And of course, building a proposal with Enforcer is just a start. As Felicia said, we have attempted to build a full flow for decision-making process. So not just one decision, but you can imagine if we see each proposal as a node, and those nodes can be connected together to shape a decision-making process. And we call that process is building a blueprint. So let me introduce you the way it is constructed. Okay, let's move back to the first screen. So here, as you can see, we have the blueprint, like button. You can click on create. And the first thing you see is you have to add a name for the process. You click continue and you define the primary nodes or primary checkpoints that the decision making process have. Here we define it as 3 checkpoints and then go to the editing page. As you can see, we have the name of the process. We have all the node is connected together, and here you are present with the ability to add more nodes into the process, and yet the setting will be set up in each node. As you can click on one node and you can see all the similar settings that you have seen in the proposal details. We call this is the checkpoint details, where you can set up these voting method and all the details that you have seen the proposal screen I've showed earlier. Yeah, it's just the similar thing. We have the option, we have the voting participant, we have the voting result, and we also have the voting condition. And one thing in this screen is that when you see the two nodes is connect together, then it have to um, then you have to then you need to have an ability to define when the first node will go to the other node, or maybe it's go to the other part like I have shown earlier. So there's actually an option for you to config that. So like here, when you click on the oh, hold on a second. It might be some problem with the prototype. Let me. Okay, so there might be some interaction might go wrong. Let me show you the design. Here. So as you can see here, we highlight the connection between the two nodes, and you can actually setting up the condition where the first node will link to the other. So defining the condition that one node can be linked to another, and in the future, further settings on condition, as you can see here, will be developed. Not only as you can see, not only the time-based setting, but in the future we might have like multiple settings such as location or resource-based. So here the story evolve around the theme of connecting one dot to another. Then finally you have something maybe like this, where you have set setting all up for each checkpoint and all their condition and all the connection between each node to ensure that it goes as the decision making process you want. And yet if you click on continue here, it will move to the page where you can where you can review the participant that in that review the role that involved in the decision making process, and you can add new member by their wallet address. You can add their name tag, you can add more member, something like that, and then you confirm the participant. You go to the review process, and here you can see that like all the thing is connect together with the final node is an enforcer. This is something I missed to tell you, that like in the proposal we also have an enforcer to automate an action in a process where you can configure the setting like action transfer token or NFT or a smart contract based event. So yeah, so review the process, and then you can publish it like and save it as what we call a blueprint, right? Okay, so the final step would be like you have to add an approval to approve for the whole process to be in place in the organization. And in here, I just want to pause a second so to grasp the whole concept so that you can understand. So after building up a blueprint, right, we must somehow utilize it by filling in the information. For example, if we have built a hiring process, like okay, a hiring blueprint, and then anytime a candidate show up, we might have to add the information of that candidate, where his information can serve as an input to apply to the hiring process. As you can see here, it's just like all the node like connect together, but it doesn't have any information of the object. Like in my example, is the information of the candidate yet. So we call the process of filling in the information is creating an initiative. So let's move to that part. So let's create let's create an initiative. So in this screen, you are presented with all the blueprint, all the process that you have set up before, and you can select which one you want to. For example, I might choose like making for hiring, right? Like here you can first you can review all the checkpoints to make sure that this is actually the blueprint that you want. And then after that you can move to create the initiative. The first thing, of course, as initiative name, and then here you can add the data for each checkpoint. In the example that I show you earlier, it might be the information of the candidate for each step. So for example, I might click on each checkpoint here to add the information, to add the details information of the candidate. For example, scan CV, right? I can add the CV of the candidate or all my comments, attach the documents, and have it a voting duration, and so that people can actually view the candidate, the CV of the candidate, and then they decide whether to upvote for this candidate or not. And then we, if it reach a threshold, and then it can move to the next step, or it will stop there, maybe forever, or in just a duration that we set up here. So continue, it will walk you through all the steps that you might want to input the information. And one question you might ask that, what if we don't have the information for the step 3 or step 4 yet, because it has not happened yet, right? The candidate has not entered the interview or something. So with the initiative creating, you can add the information along the way. For example, like going to the culture fit or interview checkpoint, you can then add the information along the way, and so that people have information to make decision. Here I can save draft or save and publish. So yeah, so it's will publish the initiative, and people can start voting on the very first checkpoint of the process. And here, this is actually just a draft version of the listing page, where you can see all the initiative, the proposal, and specifically the blueprint, and the status of it, whether you can add it or it is already active and you can only like take a look and decide to vote on it. So yeah, it is pretty much everything. I think there's a lot of details but if you have any question or comments, so please bring it up, and it might help us a lot in developing this app and this new narrative. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, what Lyman say, like what Lyman show you is the example of what we think. Uh, what the first the app can be built on blockchain. So the first the app is that we want to be a quite general one, general. Then like we let everyone to configure decision making process with a lot of default options. But actually, the chain is more powerful. We can let other build games on the chain. We can let other to build like HR software. We can let other people to build like I don't know, maybe a group buy software on the chain. Like I mean, maybe you maybe know like software like Groupon like many years ago. Like if you buy something together and the price will go down and things like that. So it's all the decision making process we make together as a human. So everything that human want to make decision together, you can configure it on this blockchain through a set of API and that is the chain. That's why the chain was built, and then you can like have a lot of action after we can have the decision tree, and then people can vote, and when a proposal is finished, it can take some action. Just like Lyman just give you some example here. Example in here is like some fund is moved, but maybe the action can be like something happened in the game, or maybe something happened in I don't know, maybe some NFT transfer or something. It all depends on the developer that will onboard the chain later. Yeah. And I what I believe is that in the you build a software and you use only one blockchain. I don't think so. Blockchain for me just like cloud computing. And if you take a look, a normal website today, they use service from like 20 to 30 other different API provider from different companies. So I think that thing will happen surely on blockchain. It's just just simple like that. So we are just one part of many things which contribute to new kind of software that use blockchain to decentralize a certain part of it. Yeah, and that is like the chain and the process we have so far right now.
Okay.
Yes, thank you so much, Lyman and K2. I hope that it is clear and helpful enough for all of our community member to get a sense of what our blockchain purpose is for, and how our first application on our blockchain, which is built by ourselves, will look like, and how it will be helpful for our both our our end users, and also the app developers on our blockchain as well. So thank you for the update. In the next month, we will continue to with the roadmap of developing the blockchain and the app. And in the next community call, I hope that we can have some even more visualized steps to update with you on the chain and on the app as well. Thank you again, K2 and Lyman. And now we will pass to Ling for the second section of the community call today, which is the investment update. So in today's call, Ling will update with us on our portfolio companies status, which is OFC. So Ling, you there?
Yes. Hi, Felicia. Hi, everyone.
Yeah.
Right. So the investment that we made, we have investment in Fancy and OFC. Since we have less information on Fancy for now, I'll just give a quick update there first. With Fancy, I think the biggest update from the team is in the last month they have started to list their token on the centralized exchange. So far they have listed their token on Mexi, and they said that they're going to continue to list it on Gate.io. But I think the more exciting things is that in terms of business development wise, we still receiving updates from them in terms of signing new contracts with South African football club, and that is more that's more indicative of how the product is received by the market. So that's on Fancy. Regarding Open Food Chain, so Open Food Chain, they haven't launched their token yet, and it's going to be still quite a while until they launch their token. But in terms of business developments, we receive a lot of encouraging news from them. So around the end of November, beginning of December, they announced to the board of directors that they had successfully secured a €600,000 subsidies from the Germany's government for the implementations of the OFC cacao supply chains, and this is for the cacao supply chains from Peru and Colombia. And if you remember, when we first investing into these companies, they only have two test case. One is for the juice industries, and the other is for the burgers, chef burger. And they are able to start expanding into some major food industries, like cacao is the third one, and they have been able to also expand to another two that I will cover later as well. Yeah, and also they have went through the process of formalizing the merging of the new fork with Open Food Chain. So the new fork is the legal representative that so far is the one that receives all the revenues on the subsidies, which is a legal entities in Europe that they have been used so far. And their promise to the token holders as well as the investor is that everything will become basically rolled into one, which is the Open Food Chains Foundation. And so far they have done that. They have rebranded everything into becoming Open Food Chains, with the new fork now become Open Food Chains, and their events, which coincide to which they have organized for about 2-3 years now. And that an annual event is rebranding into Open Food Chain Summit. Felicia, I couldn't remember if we ever covered about the Try2 events with the community.
I think we haven't. If you can briefly talk about that.
Right. So the Try2 events is an annual event organized by Open Food Chains, and they has been running that for about 2 to 3 years now. And the latest one they have been organizing is in November. And this is not how do I say? This is one of the more well-known event in terms of about sustainabilities and and applying blockchain technologies in food tracing areas. And in this event, usually you will have about 20 to 50 companies joining into the events and exchange ideas on how to develop the food tracing in industries and how to apply technologies into that areas, including the blockchain technologies. And so far, Open Food Chain has been leading that event for 2 years now. And also within that event, they have different like side activities like a Shark Tank, where projects can pitch their ideas for the investor there, and that lots of different things there as well. Right. So far at the end of last year, at the end of 2022, they end the year with three side chains, which is the juice chains, the chef chains, and in the process of opening the cacao chain. Going into this year's, they have been able to secure some contracts so that they can start two other side chains. One is called olive oil chains, which is for the olive industries, and that will be focusing in the olive industry in Spain. And the second one is called fish chain, which is aimed at the fishing industries. And they kick it off in Paris last month in January. So business development wise, it's going quite well for Open Food Chains. They also triple their revenues compared to 2021. So even though we will have to wait for a while until they launch that token, but the underlying activities, the fundamentals of the projects is developing quite well, and I think that will give us a more sustainable and better long-term futures. Some smaller news, including that at the end of last year, they got 5 nominations for different awards in terms of like best enterprise solutions, etc. in Europe. And I think Open Food Chain as a project based in Netherlands, they have been using their advantage quite well with expanding business activities into different countries in Europe. So I think that's covered all the relevant information on the two investments that we make so far.
Thank you, Ling. I think that's a very positive update on our portfolio companies. So we are looking forward to further updates, further good news from the investment team in the next community calls as well. Okay, so we have some minutes left. If you guys have any questions, you can drop in the chat box and we can address all of the questions for you. Okay, I think we don't have any questions for today. Yeah, so I think we can wrap up our community call this month here. Thank you guys so much for joining, and we hope to see you next month. Thank you. Goodbye, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Goodbye.